Day 195 of 1,461 Days of Ignoring the Trump Administration. I am not a self-help guru. I'm just trying to help myself. What if there were a history book by a higher power? I am listening to the audiobook of These Truths by Jill Lepore. This book was recommended by Amanda Nelson, who I have tagged here. It is difficult to listen to the history of the United States, I must say. So far, I am only 7% of the way through it, which is something I noticed because of keeping track of the percentage of time that has elapsed in 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I'm getting there, but man, that first 7%, it's not a lot of fun. And it's not unexpected that it's not going to be a lot of fun, but man, this country, when you hear it back from the deeply researched, compiled, and documented perspective of an historian, it not only confirms what you know about how this country was founded and built, but it connects with the people who gave the abuse and the people who took the abuse. This is America, as Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, pointed out just 7 years ago. It is scary because it is hard to let go of the feeling that we're just caught in a moment in history where we are seeing our version of these foundational abuses that have always existed. And then if you pull back to before America even existed, you realize human abuse throughout recorded time. It seemed to me at first that abuse was contingent on one's belief or not in a Christian God, and that is what subjected you to having your life taken or not taken from you. But as it turns out, many of the abused took their own lives because they believed that in accepting death, they would be going somewhere better. It also turns out that the abusers believed that it was God who commanded them to enact the abuse. Sounds familiar to me when it comes to the justification of hypocrisy that we see and hear from the leader of the Trump administration and the Trump administration. What if there were a history book by a higher power? A history of all humanity throughout the universe where one planet is discussed in the way one country is discussed. And perhaps it says, and on this planet that was named Earth, people treated each other in this despicable way, which is why this planet only existed for such a small amount of time. If such a viewpoint on the history of humanity on Earth existed, it would add some context to explain why throughout recorded human history, the single consistent fact is the constant abuse of people by other people. It is difficult to hear, but I have 93% more, and I will be listening in the time I gain as I ignore the Trump administration.